Hodul Adonai Kitov. Hashem's kindness is good and it's everlasting. That pasuk, Hodul Adonai Kitov. Every time in your life something happens, Hodul Adonai Kitov. Don't be afraid to say Hashem's name. Don't be afraid. Who are you thinking? As often as you can. Harav Peretz told me that at night when he covers himself with his blanket, he says, Hodul Adonai Kitov, because when he was in Ponevezh, in Yeshivat Ponevezh, he came from Morocco, came to Israel, finds himself in Bnei Brak, and over there the Yeshiva was so poor, they gave them a bench to sleep on, and they didn't have blankets or pillows or anything like that, a cup of black tea, and bread. That's what they ate. Every day, that's what they got to eat. When our parents got married and he needed to go to his Sheva Brachot, he told the rabbi he's not going to be able to make it to the Sheva Brachot because he can't afford the $1.50 it takes to get on the bus with his wife to make it to the Sheva Brachot. So now our parents lives in a house, probably smaller than this room. And at night he tells me, I'm the richest man in the world. I have a blanket, I have a pillow, I have a house. And he always says, Hodul Adonai Kitov, Kilam Chasdo. Thank you to Hashem for His kindness is good and everlasting. The Gemara tells us a story about a few Chachamim that were traveling together right before Shabbat. And they come to a hotel, like a motel, an inn, like a place to stay. And they get a room. And these chachamim, listen, the room, you don't have a safe. So who has a safe? The guy who owns the hotel. He has a safe. And you give him all the stuff you need, your wallet, whatever else, you leave it with him, and after Shabbat, you pick it up. So Rabbi Meir and all the chachamim that were there, they gave their stuff, except for Rabbi Meir. He said he's not going to give his stuff to him. Then why not? He said, nothing. I have a reason. After Shabbat, they came to get their stuff. They said, hey, we need our wallets, our money. He says, which wallets? Which money? The only one who had money left was Rabbi Meir. They looked at Rabbi Meir and said, how do you know he was going to be a thief? He said his name was Kido. What's wrong with the name Kido? It says in the Torah, Kido tapuchot hema. That they are Kido, they are an upside down generation. And if a person is named Kido, the first thing that pops into my mind is Kido tapuchot hema. I'm not leaving him my money. So why do you tell us? He says, I didn't know. I'm just guessing. I'm Doresh Shemot. I learn things from people's names. But it's not a fact. It could be you find a Kido who's a very righteous person. So I can't lie and say Lashon Hara about him. I can't make up rumors about him. But I know that for me, I'm very particular with people's names. There are people who choose names, and for them it's whatever sounds cute. They think they like a name, they didn't choose a name. They don't realize that according to the Talmud, a person's name, Shema Garim, a person's name really causes a lot in who a person is, who a person will be. That doesn't mean that there's some kind of superstition here. A person's name is an element, just like where a person is born adds to their character, and the family with which they grow up adds to their character, and the community, and the people, and the experiences, and the struggles, and the traumas, and the good moments. Those all shape a person's personality. The Chachamim believe very much that a person's name also shapes his personality. For that reason, we have a minhag to go ask a Chacham before we name a child, to ask a Chacham, is this a good name? Is this a good name? There's people that choose names and you say, wow, that's an interesting name. Some of them are not even names, by the way. I'm not going to tell you what's a name, what's not a name, because today everyone has names. I don't want to start offending anybody. No, I don't want to make anyone feel bad. But sometimes I'm at a person's brit or at their baby and I feel bad. Why on earth would you name your kid that? How can you do that? Okay, so I'll tell you. Maybe it works like Ayin Hara. The Gemara says if you don't believe in it, it doesn't affect you. Okay, it could be these people that don't believe in it, it doesn't affect them. Fine. But when choosing a name, you have to work really hard. Now, in my family, we don't have a lot of experience with having boys. with having girls. We have a lot of issues with having boys.
Yeah, I would say.
Not a lot of issues with having girls. I'm very
Yeah,
grateful
you know
that
that.
Baruch Hu, we like doubled the female population, the Halevy family overnight.
And the Schwartzes and
The problem is that we don't really have an extensive or exhaustive list of girls' names to choose from. And it's very interesting. It took us a long time to come up with names. We actually thought these babies were coming in a month and a half from now, so we were planning. We have a lot more time than we thought we had. Many thoughts are in the heart of man. And Hashem's plan happened anyways. They came early, and they came with chaos. Good chaos, but you're not sitting down with the Tanakh, looking through the names and then I start to notice things like, I look at lists of names for boys and girls, and lists for boys 100 pages, and for girls 5 pages, because there happen to be more names of men in Tanakh than there are of women in Tanakh. Mm-hmm. Now, from the names of the women in Tanakh, not all of them are names you want to name your kid. Famous prophetess, Hulda, a weasel. You name your own daughter Weasel. I'm going to keep my daughter... It's bad enough my wife is named after a bee. I'm going to name now the next one's open up a zoo in our family. All kinds of names people have. So it's very hard. And then you start looking at modern names, and that's an interesting combination of names. The Mukubalim, they're worried about making up names. How could you use a name that didn't exist before? It's an interesting thing. How could you use a name that didn't exist before? The whole Tanakh are people making up names that didn't exist before. I'll name him Yehuda. Ki apam oded Adonai, because now I want to thank Hashem, so I'm going to make up a name, Yehuda. Gershom. I was a ger over there. I was a stranger down there. So you find they always made up names. There's a problem. Do you name names that were given before this book of Noach, the Parsha of Noach? Do you give names? All kinds of things that come up. And basically, what we do in our last few kids, Baruch Hashem, we write a list. We call it a peretz, and he says, we give him 12 names. So we're lucky if we're left with half a name. So if you want a whole name, you have to give 25 names. And then you give 25 names. This one, no, that's a bad name. This one, what do you want? Her to beat her husband? Or this one, what do you want? The whole list, he goes through the list. This one is not a good name. Why? Don't ask questions. This next one is the whole list like this. And so we've been trying to name her since Friday. And every night, and you run out of girls' names because there's not that many on the list in the first place. Baruch Hashem Hodaya, we got early on. Hodaya means Hodeh. Give Hoda, Hodu Ladonai Kitov. Give thanks to Hashem. And actually, that's not the original meaning of the name Hodaya. You should know. I'm going to be honest with you. The word Hodaya is Aramaic Hebrew for the word Hoda'ah, which is to give thanks. In the Talmud, you find the words are used interchangeably. Hoda'ah, thanks. Hodaya, thanks. So what's the difference between Hoda'ah and Hodaya? I had to go look in the Academy of the Hebrew Language in Israel, and they have a whole analysis on this. The Chachamim, which lived in Israel, used an Israeli Hebrew in the Talmud, and they call Hoda'ah, thanks. In Aramaic, you find a lot of words they add an extra yud to. Hodaya. They're adding an extra something. An extra yud inside of there, which just means the same thing, but for us it adds Hashem's name to the end of the word. So Hodaya, Hod, give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's where that name comes from. It's not someone's name. There's no one in our family with that name. It's not a biblical name, Hodaya. But it's a beautiful name. But that's our baby B. We already got baby B named on Friday. And the birth certificate office keeps banging down your door. Hey, how come you don't have a name? What kind of people don't name their babies? You had 8 months to think about it. What do you think? And then the next name. So we had a list, and I called Friday. It didn't work. Thursday night, then the Friday. Then Saturday night. Then what day are we today now? Last night at 3:14 a.m. Haraperetz agreed to our names. Shira, a song to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shira is a Shira. Any song is called a Shira. But something spelled Shiur Hashem, the song of Hashem. We want our daughter to always not just give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but to give thanks singing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The book, the Torah tells us, Vata kitvu lachem. It's the last of the mitzvot. 613 mitzvot. My parents merited to fill this mitzvah. I didn't. Vata kitvu lachem et hashira hazot. And now write for yourself this song. It's the last of the commandments, if I'm not mistaken, the last, which is every person has to write for themselves their own Sefer Torah. That's a mitzvah. It's a hard mitzvah, but it's a mitzvah. It's an expensive mitzvah, but it's a mitzvah. The ideal is if you know how to write your own Sefer Torah. But you notice when Hashem commands to write down the Sefer Torah. He doesn't say, write down this book of laws. He says, write down this book of how to make your life miserable. Write down this book of chumrot, of stringencies. Write down this book of, he could have given many things, this book of ethics and morals. When a Kadosh Baruch Hu chooses to describe his Torah, Ata kitvu lachem et hashira hazot. Write down this song for you. If the Torah doesn't make you sing, then you're not studying the right Torah. Ki lekach tov natati lachem, because I gave you a good teaching. Torati al ta'azovu, don't let go of my Torah. David HaMelech says, Ki derecheh derechei noam, v'chol netivotei shalom. Her ways are pleasant and peaceful. So if you see a person who learns Torah, and they think, oh, now we got to make a Jewish jihad. If that's what their Torah makes them do, they're not studying the same Torah that Hashem gave them Mount Sinai. If their Torah is about hurting people and putting down people and oppressing people and mocking people and making fun of people, if that's their Torah, that's not a real Torah. They could have big beards and big hats and big coats and whatever else they need to have. I don't know what makes a person look Jewish today. But that's not what makes Judaism Jewish. If it becomes a Shira, it's a commandment to write this down like a song. Your children should be singing V'ha'arev now. We say every morning, Hashem, please make sweet in our mouths, in our children's mouths, the words of this Torah. If the Torah is not sweet, then it's not the real Torah. Because either you're a liar or David HaMelech is a liar, and I take David HaMelech's word over anybody here, myself included. It's not some cute thing that I'm saying now. This is the truth. This is the emet. We have an obligation when we learn Torah, when we teach Torah, when we write Torah, to fit into Hashem's mode. See, in 2018 Judaism, we made a mistake. The mistake is that it says that Hashem created us in His image. But today's Jews, they create Hashem in their own image. There's no Hashanah. Be a little bit of a Muslim. Listen to me carefully. Be a little bit Muslim. Submit yourself to Hashem. Stop bossing Hashem around. Hashem, we don't like that part of your Torah, so we're going to just tweak it a little bit. Why? Because you didn't fully comprehend what the Torah is telling you, now you have to change it? There's no way that something in the Torah could be bad. So if it looks bad to you, then you got to learn it again. And if it doesn't work this time, then next time. If not next time, then next time. Because you have a promise from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is a song, this is beautiful, this is pleasant. And if it doesn't bring you to that place, then something's wrong. But it's not wrong on the Torah's end, it's wrong on our end. And so these two names are the names that we believe so much in. Shira and Hodaya, to give thanks to Hashem constantly because He's good to us, because everything we have is so good. How lucky are we to be Jewish, to be part of Am Yisrael, to have a Torah. And on top of that, to be able to have a Torah that we're proud of, that we can sing its praises. That's the thoughts that we had in mind when we named our daughters, and we wish them only brachot, blessings of this should be their Torah experience. And I'll tell you, it's a frightening thing. And after I send everyone, that's the end of the names. This is what I want to give a very short shiur on. About this, it's a frightening thing to raise children. I know people here are other people's children. But I see my world, and listen, I don't really care what happens in the world. I see my Jewish world, and I see it falling apart. And I see that I'm going to have to send my kids into this world, into the Jewish part of this world. And how can I promise them that the same Torah that I taught them at home, that my wife taught them at home, that our families taught them at home? We're talking about families. My parents have been, like the last 2 weeks, they've adopted my children. I'm going to have to sign adoption papers tomorrow to get them back. But really, Devorah went to the hospital about a week before birth, and I know people didn't know, and we were keeping things quiet because we really didn't know what was going on with us. And then, Baruch Hashem, we had a child, and another time in the hospital. But my parents really stepped up to the plate, and that's what family's all about. I just want to say thank you very much to them from the bottom of my heart. But this world that we're going to put our children into, it's a frightening one. And so we're hoping that between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the community that we have and the names that they have, that those are enough key elements in their environment to combat any negative Judaism that they fall through, or they meet, or they bump into along the way. And as Rabbi Yonatan Halevy writes it, we have bumps in life. We bump into things in life. But we hope that when we bump, we're not bumping into a wall or bumping into a glass door. That's embarrassing. But bumping into Hashem, a divine bump, a divine encounter. I'm praying that my daughters, along with the whole Kehillat, will always have that opportunity that when they bump into Hashem, they bump into a positive Hashem. Into Hashem that says, I love you, says Hashem. A Hashem that cares, a Hashem that is compassionate, a Hashem that is a beautiful Torah, beautiful mitzvot, a Hashem that is rid of machloket, of fighting, of sinah, of hatred, rid of fanaticism, of all kinds of zealotry. A Torah that is beautiful. And B'ezrat Hashem, it takes a village to raise a child. and you are the village, whether you like it or not. Elchanan is already part of the village. Avinam must step up to the plate. We bring you 2 more, B'ezrat Hashem, and together we should raise everybody on a proper and healthy path. I want to just say a little about Torah, but I want to disappoint everyone who needs to go to feel free to go. So you're not stuck here for the night. But this is now optional. Okay? So Chazakim V'uchim. Toda Rabba. Thank you for the mission. I don't usually speak about, this is not politics, but current things that go on in the world. But there's a current thing that's gone on in the world that I think is relevant to having children, especially daughters. And for me, it's a new turn, and I've been thinking a lot about it in this last weekend a bit. There's in Arabic, they have something called makamim. Do you know what makamim are? Makam. Not a radar in Hebrew. Makamim as in genres of music. I don't know how to explain this in English terms. It's kind of like how in English you have pop, jazz, rock, blues. That in Sephardic music, and that, which is also Arabic music, you have certain kind of if it's a happy occasion, you'll sing something, for example, in Makam Chijaz. So it's going to be a little happy. I'm not expert in Makamim by a long shot. You have Makam Biat, Makam Rast, Makam... And every Shabbat, if you go to the old Sephardic communities, not so much in Morocco, they have their own style of music in the Maghreb, but let's say if you go to the Syrian communities, or the Iraqi communities, or the old Sephardic communities, but there's a bunch of chairs here if you want to come close.
Yeah, come.
Please don't feel shy. The makam that we sing whenever a baby girl is born is makam biyat. Bet yud alef taf. Now, even though this is an Arabic word, Chachamim always give allusions to things. Elul is not a Jewish word, but we say it stands for Ani Ledodi V'Dodi Li. You know, all in Iyar is not a Jewish word. We say Ani Adonai Rofech, Am Hashem your God, your healer. We also do the same thing. Biyat stands for Bet Yud Alef Taf. Bechek Yireh Elohim Tinaten. We have a daughter. Our biggest prayer for her, and you might be surprised, which is why I want to explain this today, is that she should be given into the arms, the embrace of a person who is God-fearing. This is the blessing that we give a daughter when she's born. And I'll explain what I'm saying without anyone stoning me or chauvinistic mentalities or feministic tendencies to understand. We live in a really strange world. A very strange world. In a world where it is obvious more than ever who doesn't have Torah in their life. I meet people and it surprised me, like, I thought you were a doctor. How did you throw out such a vulgar word when you spoke? Because being a doctor is not so special anymore. It's not the leader of a community. It's not a medical professional today. Is a businessman who works in a certain kind of business. So that's like everybody else who's in the world. There could be exceptions to that. I'm not here to say bad about anybody. But it used to be, you met a pharmacist used to dress a certain way. He was a pharmacist. You met a lawyer. A lawyer had integrity. Lawyers can't. If one crime they commit, they lose their. Today you see judges that are corrupt, that are stealing, that are lying, that are cheating, and the world became a Torah void place. Even in a world that wasn't necessarily Jewish, but it had values that were coming from the Torah, that were godly values, that believed in there is something in the world greater than us, and that's the reason why we have to act better. That's the reason why we have to be better. And one of the biggest fears is what happens if Chaz v'Shalom, the only people left to marry in the world are Amei Haaretz, are ignoramuses. Now you might not understand the depth of this, but here in this Kehillat, I'm sure that you do. Chachamim write, and this is the kind of thing I can't read to you from the Gemara because I'll get in big trouble for reading it. The things the Chachamim will do to an ignoramus. Now what do I mean by an Am Haaretz? It's not a person who was born a certain way, is trying to learn, but it's very difficult for them. That's not an Am Haaretz. An Am Haaretz is a person who chooses, they're an intelligent person, they're a thinking person, but they choose not to invest any of their energies in the study of Torah. What do I mean by the study of Torah? Coming to a class once a week is studying Torah, but it's not the study of Torah. It's a person who commits himself to knowing books, to reading literature, to breaking apart Jewish ideas, concepts. When someone says, what is Hashem? Explain to me Shabbat. Well, we don't make tea bags in hot water on Shabbat. What do you tell them? What are you mumbling about? The Gemara Masechet Nedarim says you have to learn Torah day and night. And why? The Ran says, Shema yitfesu b'cha. Maybe they're going to ask you a question that you don't know and you'll start stuttering, and that will be a violation of a person's knowledge of Torah. How could it be that someone can ask you a question about Torah that you don't know the answer to? Who's that? A rabbi? No. In halakha, there's no rabbi status. There are Jews and Jews. This is what there is. A person has to be a chacham, to be a Torah scholar. Now, what is it? The point of being a Torah scholar? It's not that you should know how to think. People say, you learn Torah, it makes you a sharp thinker. You learn Torah, when you learn Torah, it penetrates your soul. Like Rabbi Akiva, who sees the water dripping on the rock, and he says, this water, if the water can make an indentation on the rock, Torah can make an indentation on my heart. I once met a person who was married for 1 week. She was married for 1 week.
Such a long time.
To who? They said about him, he's going to be the next Gadol Adar, the next leader of the generation. He's the most brilliant boy in the yeshiva. Second night of Shever Brachot, he comes home drunk and beats her. Yeshiva guy, no, the next leader of the generation. Seventh day of Shever Brachot, her brother comes to rescue her from the house. Takes her a year to get a get because nobody wants to believe this righteous man. Now, amazing, he knows the whole Talmud by heart. Because it doesn't make a difference if that's the kind of Torah that you learn, or you could raise your hand on another human being, let alone your wife, your spouse, your partner in life. What kind of animal are you? But it's something we have to know. There are people who learn Torah and it doesn't make any difference to them. They come out ugly people anyways. They're angry people. They're hating people. They're negative people. And when our children are coming to that chapter in life of getting married, one of our biggest fears is what kind of person are they going to get stuck with? And we say, we pray, B'chek yirei Elohim tenaten. They should marry to meet somebody who's a yirei Elohim, who has yirat shamayim. What does it mean yirat shamayim? It doesn't mean God-fearing like what you think. It means a person who Hashem is yirah. He sees Hashem in everything that he does. She sees Hashem in everything that they do. Even like chadarim chadarim, in the room of rooms. Then you catch there was a president in this country, they caught him on camera off tape, cursing. Not one, many. There's a few of them. Maybe 10 years ago, 12 years, I don't know how long ago it was. Remember when he was flicking off the camera. That's a president. It's a donkey. Happens to be the president also. You're going to put a video camera on Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, Lubavitch Rebbe, the Baba Sali, Chacham Ben Zion Uziel. Even in the middle of their sleep, they're not cursing. Even when you find them in the darkest place in the world, they're still the same Rav Uziel there on the street. Because that's what Torah does to a person. And we're living in a world where we don't know anymore who we can trust. Who can I say, this person, this place, this school, this community, they create men and women that are real men and real women, that have real values, real integrity. It's a scary world. The Kehillat tells us that a person should sell everything that he has to marry his daughter after such a Talmid Chacham. Everything that you have. Because how could you? How could you ask for her to live with an animal? It's not fair. So, he's rich, he has a lot of money, I'll take care of you. My sister-in-law was visiting here from Israel. She made an observation. She was in La Jolla somewhere. She said a lot of ladies driving really fancy sports cars, pushing strollers, no husbands. Because their husbands are really rich guys, don't have time to be husbands or fathers. And so here, you want a car, you need a babysitter, you need a nanny, you need a full-time, I could pay my life away. But you're not even a human, what are you? You came to the world to make money? That's your God? The 10 Commandments. Don't make for yourself a God of gold or silver. That makes you a human being. There are Jewish people like that too. They come home once a month. They come home once a week. Where are you? Who are you raising? What are you raising? What do you think is going to happen if that's the kind of person you are? You live in a world where somebody, it's normal. What do you mean? He's a businessman, goes to Hong Kong. So don't go to Hong Kong. Work at Rite Aid. But raise your kids. Be a husband. It's a crazy world. And when we bring people into this world, we have to say, listen, I'm bringing someone to this world. It's inevitable. This is the world that we're in. But what is my job? What is our job? Our job is to create a place where those things aren't real, where that's not the reality on the street. If there's something in a kehillat that happens between a husband and a wife and wife say, hey, it's our personal business, don't get involved. What do you mean? It's not your personal business. I'm sorry. You don't want to, don't have to be part of the kehillat. But when you have something like that, and you set an example in a kehillat that husband and wife can be like that, then what are you teaching the rest of us? What are you going to teach our kids? When I see parents coming to Beit Knesset together, I walk by Shabbat afternoon, I see people playing in the park together. I see real parents that are real parents. I see parents who understand the value of sending their kids to Jewish school. It's not cheap. It costs a lot of money to send kids to Jewish school. Even if you get a tuition cut, it's still a lot of money. But it's a commitment you make on your end. I could go on a cruise. I could look at my friends taking pictures on Instagram in the Bahamas. But I choose to let my kids learn how to read and write Hebrew. Because what else are they going to have? I was in the hospital a week and something already. Almost every person in the hospital is half Jewish.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Almost every, am I lying to you? And the ones who are not half Jewish, they're a quarter Jewish. Or their stepdad is Jewish. Or in fact, one of the not the doctor, but one of the therapists who was in the hospital, he was talking to me, he's like, looking around the room, so I think pretty much everybody in America is part Jewish. That's what he told. It's a really scary thing to think about. How many said this? Disappearing. But assimilation is not our enemy. Assimilation is not our enemy. I hear all the organizations, we're going to do an intermarriage, I'll tell you what we're going to do about intermarriage. Stop making a Torah that people want to run away from. Make a Judaism that people want to run to. If you believe the Creator created this Torah, and you believe this is the best thing that can happen to a human being, and if you don't believe it, then I can't help. But if that's what you believe, if you believe that when you're down, it's the Torah that picks you up, if you believe that the Torah has the answer to everything, then how could you watch as people run away from the Torah because it's clearly not doing the same thing to them? You have an achrayut, you have a responsibility to create not just a community, but a world. A world where the Torah is the guiding light, where people say, wow, that's a Torah that I want to run to. That's a Torah that I want to be a part of. And it's all about your attitude. It's all about the difference. I met a boy recently who told me, I don't eat meat and milk together because if my dad finds out, that's why you don't eat meat and milk together? What's your dad going to do if he finds out? Oh, smack your dad. What kind of ignoramus teaches his kid that you can't eat meat and milk together because if not, you don't know what's going to happen? That's how you want to teach your kids Torah. That's what you want mitzvot to look like. But it's a choice. And so now we just doubled the size of my family, which means we added, Baruch Hashem, 2 more kids to that community. And I'm trusting everyone here that we're going to create a Torah that those divine encounters that our kids have, those people that our kids meet, those young kids in the kids' room that one day are going to be husbands and wives and dads and moms and grandparents. I know it sounds far away from now, but it's not so far. We're doing 2 bar mitzvahs this month. I remember when they were not bar mitzvahs even, not even half a bar mitzvah.
And a wedding.
And a wedding. I'm doing 2 weddings this month. The next month, another wedding. Oh Hashem. And then you say, this happens fast. I want my kid to meet your kid in the kids' room and say, that's the kind of person I can marry. They're going to make jokes like the first 15 years of their life, we're going to make fun of them. We all know that. But after that, say, this is a place where real people exist. Where real husbands and wives exist. Where real relationships happen. Where real friendships exist. Because we have a Torah that gives us life, that gives us inspiration. We're hitting now the 3-year mark in this room. We have next week on Wednesday a meeting about our Kehillat. And our whole life, our energies, those of you who are here for classes that are learning Torah, you are part of this big picture. There are people all over the place who look up to you and are watching. They're watching to see. They're not, you think they're watching to see if you mess up. That's not what they're watching. They're watching to see, wow, let's see what else they do. I still go places now. Hey, do you have any of those matzahs? How do you know that we bake matzah? An angel was on Facebook. But you don't know how many people were watching us. And then this next year, I can only imagine what it's going to look like. When Judaism becomes exciting, it becomes fun, it becomes exhilarating. I had a lady today, she met us in the hospital. She's Jewish, her father's Jewish, her mother's Jewish. She married somebody not Jewish. She's going to be in my house soon for Shabbat. But her husband really wanted to be part of Am Yisrael. And she told me if I would have only met Jews like you, she met my wife, she didn't meet me. No, she met me. If I would have only met Jews like you 20 years ago, you don't know where I would be today. And because of that, we keep growing. And because of that, we keep having children. And because of that, we keep building our Kehillat. And because of that, we keep learning Torah. And because of that, we keep doing what we do. Because if anyone is going to make sure that we're going to have people in whose embrace you can find the HaShamayim, it's going to be our Kehillat. And I'm certain that we're going to find it from other Kehilat as well. So I have a task. The task is to be that lighthouse. And B'ezrat Hashem, I'm positive that we'll do it. It's a big zechut for me to say, soon my kids are going to come home, and you're going to be part of their family. It's a big zechut for me. I'm not afraid. I'm not scared. I'm very, very trusting. And I know that I won't be let down. And I know that we won't let each other down. Al kashlu banu chavereinu. There's a prayer that we shouldn't mess up in front of our friends. We shouldn't let them down. We should only make them proud. As a Kehillat, I'm sure we'll make them proud, so we can give Shira and Hodaya, give song and praise to Hashem, who created the world, who gave us a Torah of beauty, a Torah of light, a Torah of goodness, a Torah of peace. B'ezrat Hashem, we should merit to see the ultimate light. Oh Chadash, at Zion Ta'ir. Hashem, may you shine a new light on Zion. V'nizkeh kulanu mehera le'or. And we should merit to see that light very, very soon. Our daughters were born on Rosh Chodesh Av. Rosh Chodesh Av is a day, it's the last day to be happy before you have to be sad. It's like the next day, sorry, you'll never be able to celebrate your birthday. I don't know what happens the next day. Yeah? But this year, the Rosh Chodesh. I know people born on, I have an aunt born on Tisha B'Av. What are you going to do? Like, no cake for you. Like, nothing can happen over there. Unless the Mashiach comes, so no pressure. But we're coming into a time where I want to see that our kids that are born in this time period, they're able to dance, and they're able to sing, and they're able to give thanks, because where they're going to be back home. Uvau Tzion Berina, that all the captives of Zion should come back home. Will come back to Tzion singing and dancing to Hashem on HaRabait, on the Temple Mount, with the Beit HaMikdash, and with all the world, the Jewish people and the nations of the world together, saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hodu l'Adonai ki tov. We give thanks to Hashem for He is good. Ki l'olam chesdo, because His kindness is everlasting. Thank you so much, everyone.